Hey Betta Babes, welcome back to a brand new video. I am here today with Miss Dahlia, my leopard gecko, for this video because it's all about leopard geckos and their care. So for today's video, I'm going to be making a leopard gecko care guide. You guys have been asking me for this video for months. I've gotten so many requests to do a leopard gecko care guide, and I've just been putting it off because, I mean, there are so many more people like better than me and knowledgeable with leopard geckos than I am, but you guys have just been asking, so I decided to go ahead and make one. Just know that this care guide should not be the only care guide video that you watch. There's so many other people out there that know a lot of good things. Example, Jessica Finnan, or Feenan, I don't know how to pronounce her last name still, but she is great with leopard geckos. She has tons of them, and you also should definitely be researching care guides just on Google as well and finding good ones. But with that being said, if you want to know all about how to take care of leopard geckos, like what they need, what they eat, etc., then make sure to subscribe to this video before you leave and hit that bell notification so that you can be notified every time I upload a new video. And with that being said, let's hop right on in. Alright, so like I said, for this video, I have Miss Dahlia right here. She is my Max Snow leopard gecko. Say hi, Dahlia. Hold on, let me get her up towards, there we go. She says hi. How you doing? Here you go. You can go right back. There we go, ma'am. Okay, so the very first thing that I guess I would like to cover is their enclosure size. So for a baby, I think 10 gallons is okay if that's what you want to start out with. I definitely did that with Dahlia and then upgraded her. But when they're adults, I think 20-gallon long is a really good tank size for a leopard gecko. Obviously, you can go bigger, but for the most part, I think 20-gallon long is a really good tank size. Now for Dahlia, it's really interesting because when I had Davis, my other leopard gecko, he was way more active than Dahlia has ever been in her whole entire life. Now, he benefited more from a bigger enclosure, and I actually had transitioned her over from the 20-gallon long back to a 10-gallon, and I felt like she thrived in there. But now she is back in a 20-gallon long, but I was really just wanting to see how it went, and she was okay. But really, all in all, I think 20-gallon long is a great size for one adult leopard gecko, and that's what Miss Dahlia is in right now. Of course, I do want to mention, do not cohab geckos. Do not throw multiple geckos in an enclosure together. That is a big no-no. I did just want to throw that in there really fast. But moving on from enclosure size, we can talk about substrate. So there's a lot of substrates that are not good for leopard geckos. You really don't want to put them in there. And I am not going to get into the absolute specifics on those because I'm not really knowledgeable on all of that, but I do want to say that there are some loose substrates that are not good for leopard geckos. Of course, things like sand and like a dirt and wood chip sort of situation should be avoided, but one thing that is really good for leopard geckos for a substrate would be like reptile carpet. That's a really good option, but the option that I choose and I like the best, which I know a lot of people don't like, and if you don't like it, then like that's okay, that is your opinion, but paper towels. I use paper towels for substrate. I just lay a paper towel down to cover the bottom of the tank, and that way it makes it way more easy to clean up their tanks when it's time to, you know, when it's time to clean their enclosure. You literally just have to pull the paper towel out, where with reptile carpet you're going to want to clean it off. So definitely there is give and take with that. I mean, you may not like the way that the paper towel looks, and albeit of course reptile carpet would be more pretty, but honestly I don't find that the paper towel really does that much difference in the aesthetics of the enclosure. But moving on from substrate, we're going to go to what really needs to be inside of the enclosure itself. So 4 things inside the enclosure. You're definitely going to want a hot hide, a cool hide, and a humid hide for shedding. Now with the hot hide, you are going to want a heat mat. That is really the main source of like heat slash, you don't need a lamp. First of all, there are some cases where I know people have used lamps for certain things. I don't even know which ones they are or what exactly. That's once again not my expertise, but you definitely need a heating mat for the hot side of your leopard gecko enclosure. And with that, you're going to want a thermometer to regulate that temperature. And I find that in the 80s, that's somewhere in the 80s is probably pretty much where the temperature should be. That's where mine always sits at. And so on the left side I have the hot hide, on the right side I have the cool hide. Obviously you're going to want them on opposite sides. And then the humid hide, I don't leave one in there 24/7 because honestly when I had it in there she never used it, but if I notice she's going to shed I will stick one in there. So you can always leave one in there, or if you notice when they're starting to shed, which is when they do become dull, that's a telltale sign of noticing that they're about to shed, you can put the humid hide in there. And really what you're going to do with that is you're going to put whatever you use. I use mason jars, and then I just put a paper towel in there that's really moistened when I spray it with water, and then you just have to keep that up, and that is good and helps aid with shedding. So those are like some staple things that you definitely need in the enclosure. Another thing you're going to need is obviously a water dish, but with the water dish you also want a dish for calcium to leave in the enclosure 24/7. And now a good calcium to leave in the enclosure 24/7 is calcium without D3, which is obviously a vitamin. That's pretty much what you want to just leave in there all the time, and you really should be good to go, along with some other things for enrichment such as fake plants and all like the little vine things. And I also have like little pieces of wood in there, just really cute naturalistic things to fill up the tank to add enrichment. So the next thing, let's talk a little bit about what they eat. So leopard geckos can eat a variety of foods, and it's really up to you what you want to feed them when it comes to the certain foods that they eat. So some of the most common things that leopard geckos eat are mealworms, superworms, crickets, or dubia roaches. So those are like the 4 main things, and I choose to feed 2 of those 4, which are mealworms and superworms. So those are what I mainly feed I'm about to say leopard geckos because sometimes I forget that Davis isn't here anymore. But those are the 2 options that I have chosen to feed. So obviously mealworms are the smaller ones. Superworms are bigger than mealworms. You have your dubia roaches and your crickets. But those are things that I definitely recommend. And of course you can just throw them in the enclosure, or you can tong feed them. That works too. That's actually what I personally choose to do for Dahlia. But when it comes to feeding, you are going to want to dip the whatever you choose to feed them in calcium, and that's where I choose to use the calcium with D3. So you have 2 calciums that you really need to use and play with the leopard geckos. One that would be without D3 to leave in the enclosure at all times, and then the one with the D3 to like dip the food in for them. It's just going to give them that added nutrient. And it also depends with food on how many times you feed them throughout the week, because you know you could feed them more in less days or less in more days, if that makes sense. And also you're going to feed a baby gecko different amounts of times than an adult gecko. Like an adult gecko can eat so many worms like once a week and be fine. So it really just depends, and you should definitely do more research when it comes to that. But honestly, all of the stuff that I have mentioned, in my opinion, are just the really hands down basic care guide for a leopard gecko. I just wanted to throw out literally the basic things. Like I said, you should always do more research. Just don't let this be the only video you watch. And I mean, I'm sure there are things that I've left out, you know, as well. So like I said, don't just solely rely on this. But leopard geckos to me make great pets. As you can tell, Dahlia has just sat here this whole entire time. She is not crazy or spastic at all. She is the most chill gecko, and I have been blessed with that. I have had her since she was a baby, and I basically just tamed her by, you know, getting her out and holding her, and then she's just been this chill girl all the days that I've had her, and it's been over 2 years now. So this is Miss Dahlia, the Max Snow. I think Max Snows like her are absolutely gorgeous. And yeah, they're great pets. They are easy in my opinion. Of course, that definitely just depends on the person, but I do think that they are great pets to own. And yeah, I really hope that you enjoyed this video. Like I said, it was basic, and I hope you got a lot of good, you know, information out of it. I do want to thank my patrons as always: Jeremy, Maddie, Davis, Mercy, Janae, Casey, Mel, Vicky, and Steven. Thank you guys from the bottom of my heart for being a patron. If you guys want to be a patron, the link will be in the description box down below. It helps me out a lot and you guys get a lot of awesome perks. And other than that, please make sure to give this video a big thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. Come join the family over here. It would mean the absolute world to me. You can do that by hitting my face right up there, and you can watch another one of my videos by clicking right over there. And like I said, it would mean the world to me. And with that being said, I hope you have a great day or night or whenever you may be watching this, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye!